Looking for financial insights you can trust?
How do you protect yourself as an investor? What's the strategy?
I think it's really simple. I think you just want to be diversified in your portfolio.
The Payne family brings real-world experience to every conversation.
Well, I think that's the problem right now is, right, a lot of people that are close to retirement, they're taking so much risks. And if we do get a big sell-off, it could derail their retirement.
Listen to the Pain Points of Wealth on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
The Rita Cosby Show on the Red Apple Podcast Network. Breaking news.
And some big news tonight. A person's been detained for questioning in the Nancy Guthrie case. Welcome to the Rita Cosby Show, and some more details just coming in a little bit ago that apparently in a traffic stop in Rio Rico, which is a town about 50 miles south of Tucson, right at the U.S.-Mexico border, they made a stop. Apparently somebody was doing a rolling stop, sort of borderline, but they decided to arrest that individual. And maybe they feared that that person was headed into Mexico because indeed it was right near the U.S.-Mexico border. Again, a little town called Rio Rico, 50 miles south of Tucson, that they have now detained an individual and a traffic stop. You would imagine that whatever was in that vehicle, whatever individuals, could Nancy Guthrie have been in that vehicle? We don't know. Let's hope so. And let's hope she is in good condition. We don't know. The other question is, what other information was in that vehicle? Was there anything tying directly to the crime? Also, were there other individuals involved? Maybe once you have one person, and if there were more than one individual involved, maybe that person will rat out the other individuals to save his own hide. So there are some very big developments tonight, and it comes as the FBI director came out just a little bit ago, Kash Patel, saying that the FBI is investigating, quote, persons of interest in the Nancy Guthrie case. And of course, all of this comes as that dramatic footage just was released a few hours ago from the camera on the door. And you could see the individual taking his time, moseying around, trying to disable the camera, but clearly familiar with the area. So big developments, and this may bust right open in the next few minutes. And as soon as we get details, we'll continue to bring them to you here on the Rita Cosby Show. But this is great news that at least they have somebody detained. It may have been someone they had been following even for potentially hours or days, or maybe the footage alone was enough to bust it wide open for them to get an actual ID. You can trace ski masks, you can trace the sneakers, you can trace the gait, you can trace maybe the clothing, a pretty distinguishable backpack with some sort of reflective material. There are a lot of things that could potentially give that individual away. And it looks like this case may bust wide open very soon. Earlier today, of course, the White House has been following this case closely. President Trump even spoke to Savannah Guthrie in the last few days, saying whatever assets she needs from the federal government, they will come. And the FBI indeed did come on scene and help to get that footage and get it released to the public. Here is Caroline Leavitt, the White House press secretary, talking earlier today about the case, saying that she and the president were watching when that footage was released to the world.
I apologize for the delay. I was once again with the president. He and I were both reviewing the newly released surveillance footage from FBI in the Savannah Guthrie case on just this heartbreaking situation with respect to her mother. The president encourages any American across the country with any knowledge of this suspect to please call the FBI, who continue to assist state and local authorities who are leading this investigation on the ground. And once again, I will reiterate that the prayers of this entire White House are with Savannah and her family at this time. And we hope this person is found soon and that her mother is brought home safely.
And again, no word if this individual who was detained tonight, if indeed that is the suspect that we see in the footage, is it somebody else tied to that individual? Is it someone who knows that individual? Was it someone who participated in the crime? Is it somebody who maybe set up the Bitcoin ransom notes? You don't know. There's a whole bunch of different details. And apparently there's been activity in that Bitcoin account, very minimal amount of money, but some activity. And that could say a lot. Here is James Galliano, former FBI, talking about the case.
James, will it be solved?
I always say this, Ainsley, and I've been right almost every single time. The good guys always win here. There are no perfect crimes. I mean, this isn't the era of Jack the Ripper where you don't have any of the forensics and any of the police sciences. This case will be solved, and we're all praying for a wonderful reunion with Savannah and her mother and her family.
And boy, that would be tremendous, and that may happen soon. Let's hope. 1-800-848-9222, 1-800-848-9222. We are also told right now that a court-authorized search is underway south of Tucson. In other words, they got a search warrant, and now the sheriff is putting out the news that's just coming out right now that a court-authorized search is underway south of Tucson. You would imagine it is in the same town potentially where this individual was pulled over. Maybe it is a search warrant indeed to be able to check the car, to check maybe the home or anything attached to this individual that they just detained. Again, the town is Rio Rico, about 50 miles south of Tucson, north of Nogales, and it is very close to the U.S.-Mexico border. 1-800-848-9222, 1-800-848-9222. Let's go to Marjorie in Brooklyn. Marjorie, your thoughts tonight. Boy, is this case developing fast and furious.
Oh, thanks for taking my call, Rita. I'm still concerned about her medication. I just want to give a little background. I take one particular medication that I'm very careful that I have a 3-month supply. Also, her dosage, she's under she could be, I'm sure, under a lot of anxiety.
Oh, I'm sure.
Which affects her heart. Her dosage may have changed. I'm hoping they would have some medical expert nearby to know whether she needs a new prescription, which affects her life, possibly. The other thing is this. When I just saw the video very briefly, the ears of that man, the tops of our ears are rounded. That I saw something that looked pointed. Maybe he had an earpiece on in the house. And, of course, someone mentioned this before when they called in. The tips of the gloves are unusually shaped. I think that's all. I'm hoping the police probably already checked with her pharmacist to see how she orders her medication.
Right. Although Marjorie, clearly, if somebody had abducted, her, and obviously they did, you wouldn't imagine they go to the same pharmacy that she's going to. And if it is somebody with some sort of savvy, they may have planned ahead of time. Maybe they didn't know how much medication or what kind of medication she was on. Maybe they didn't. But maybe they were shrewd enough to try to figure out already to have that supply, or maybe they were able to get it through nefarious means, to your point. Hopefully they did, regardless, to make sure that she is still okay, because that is obviously first and foremost. You brought up the other thing, too, about the ears. I'm going to take a look at that. The other thing was interesting in the mouth. Remember, there was a reflector that came off the mouth. And at first I thought it might be like a teeth grill, like maybe there's some, sort of fancy teeth that were reflecting. But it seems like a lot of people are saying that they believe that they're a light, that a lot of hikers use these lights when they go far, that they'll often have it, especially in that area. There's some pretty rural areas, and certainly robbers and those kind of people could potentially have something like that. So that's also another thing. But I'm going to look at the ears because who knows? That could also be a very telltale sign. Marjorie, thank you. Great points. Let's go to Norm in Brooklyn, line 5. Norm, your thoughts tonight on this big news night?
Yeah, hi, Rita. Listen, I think that by Sunday, game, set, match, okay? They're either going to find Nancy Guthrie alive or they're going to find her dead. One of those two.
Norm,
okay?
I actually think it's going to happen, I bet you, in the next 24 hours. That's
exactly.
That's my thoughts.
Sunday. I gave it out till Sunday, but, the thing is, this is 2026. Nobody gets away with kidnapping a prominent person, okay, when the president of the United States is giving pressure to the president of Mexico, the federales there, I'm sure are, whatever is going on across the border, they're not screwing with their tourist industry. It's over as far as I'm concerned. Okay?
Yeah, but now the key is to put pressure on this guy. Or individual, we don't know if it's a guy, but a person detained, whether it's a man or a woman, put pressure on this individual. Either that is the individual or it's an individual with hopefully knowledge of the case and hopefully knowledge, to your point, of Nancy Guthrie, right?
Right. And nobody gets, in 2026, nobody gets away with bank robberies and nobody gets away with kidnapping. I mean, this is things of the past. Okay, these were very, very stupid criminals. For $6 million, you know what? $6 million. I mean, yes, for me, it's a hell of a lot of money, but it ain't a hell of a lot of money. Okay, just the fact that they asked for $6 million, the way they did it, it's all just amateur hour. This is it's over. Okay, by next time we speak, it'll probably be over. But at the very outset, Monday.
Yep, I think it's going to be very soon. I agree with you, Norm, on that. And you know what's interesting? Yes, I agree that if you look at this individual, it looks very amateurish. The fact that he's just kind of taking his time, trying to figure out how to get rid of the Ring camera. He picks up some plants. I mean, there's some really weird things that he does that are very amateurish. And then on the other hand, look, it's day 10. So clearly he got away with it for quite some time. And then the other question is, where is Nancy Guthrie? I mean, that's the most important thing at this point. Obviously, motivation. And let's hope that they have somebody who is connected to the case now. Let's pray. And let's pray now that we know that they got a court-ordered search warrant, that is underway at this time. Potentially, there may be a treasure trove of information in that car or in potentially a house or a storage locker, anything belonging to the individual that they detained. And if it was many people involved, maybe that person is sort of squealing and trying to save their own skin and saying, oh, I didn't do it, but so-and-so did. Who knows? I'm still curious as to, first of all, how Nancy Guthrie is doing. I pray she's alive, and I pray that she comes home to her family first and foremost. And also that we get these details. It could still be a bit of a road, but I think this is going to break wide open very, very soon. Norm, thank you very much. Let's go to Liz in Florida, line 4. Liz, your thoughts tonight?
Hi, Rita. Just can't stop thinking about this. It's like watching a horror movie, and I hope with a happy ending. This is all speculation, but I think that there are probably 3 guys or a woman. She could have been a woman, maybe a fake mustache.
By the way, I thought about that too. I thought about a fake because it almost looks fake, and the eyebrows almost look fake, or just a super well manicured eyebrows.
It could be a woman.
I mean, the eyebrows don't look normal for a guy, do they? They look odd.
Or maybe trans. I mean, today you don't know.
Yeah, you don't know. Or I even thought maybe they're glued on. I mean, you never know. I mean, it could be somebody, or it could be just some people have weird things. They go and get their eyebrows waxed, even if they have hair all over the place. I know
you see them all. But when I saw that backpack right away, I knew it was full. It had probably tarp, tape, rope in it. And I mean, they came to do some sort of damage, and I'm really thinking. Betsy's right. There was someone inside the house first. They came in probably from the back door because I think the back door was open, and the guy or the woman, whoever came in the front, knew that someone already was in there, so they weren't concerned that anybody was going to call the police on them. And I think one person was in a van. And I think I may have heard that there was a white van in the neighborhood.
Yeah, there was a white van that was seen, and then there were some suspicious vehicles found around a Circle K. But no details if that was ever connected or not connected. So that's why it's unclear if it's tied to this or not.
Well, I really just hope that that elderly person that Betsy was saying went to the hospital it's her and she's okay. And, I hope they will find them. Just like Norman said, they will find them. And I hope soon. And we'll all have the ending that we've been waiting for.
Yeah, and let's pray,
happy.
Liz. Boy, Liz, wouldn't that be a great day, especially if she comes back safe and sound and anybody tied to this is arrested. Liz, thank you very, very much. And you brought up also Savannah putting out the plea to the public. Here's a little bit of her plea that she made just yesterday. Take a listen.
She was taken and we don't know where. And we need your help. So I'm coming on just to ask you, not just for your prayers, but no matter where you are, even if you're far from Tucson, if you see anything, if you hear anything, if there's anything at all that seems strange to you, that you report to law enforcement. We are at an hour of desperation and we need your help.
Very powerful. We're going to continue with your calls, everybody, on this big news night as developments are happening very quickly in the Nancy Guthrie case. We'll be right back here on The Rita Cosby Show.
The Rita Cosby Show on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
Looking for financial insights you can trust?
How do you protect yourself as an investor? What's the strategy?
I think it's really simple. I think you just want to be diversified in your portfolio.
The Payne family brings real-world experience to every conversation.
Well, I think that's the problem right now is, right, a lot of people that are close to retirement, they're taking so much risks. And if we do get a big sell-off, it could derail their retirement.
Listen to the Pain Points of Wealth on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
This is the Rita Cosby Show.
And just coming in that the FBI is now in the process of searching a home in Rio Rico, Arizona. This after detaining a person at a traffic stop. And just to give you a little sense of Rio Rico, it is a very desolate resort town area, as it's described, about 9 to 10 miles or so from the southern border with Mexico. It's about 50 miles south of Tucson, Arizona. And this is all tied to the disappearance of Nancy Guthrie. Likely, they wanted to stop that vehicle, which triggered all of this, before it crossed the border, given the fact that it may have only been minutes away from the border with Mexico. And then the FBI and others swarmed in and decided to detain this individual. Now, again, the FBI is in the process of searching a home in Rio Rico. It is unclear who may be inside that house. Could it potentially even be Nancy Guthrie? Is there something tied to the crime? This case may break wide open in a matter of moments.
The Rita Cosby Show on the Red Apple Podcast Network. Rita Cosby is on.
And big developments coming in the Nancy Guthrie case. We've been following it wall to wall because it has been breaking as we've been here on the air with you on the Rita Cosby Show. We know that an individual has been detained. They were stopped at a traffic stop in a tiny little town called Rio Rico, Arizona. It's a little desolate sort of resort town, if you will, but it's only about 9 to 10 miles from the southern border. So clearly the FBI felt they had to make the stop on this individual before they crossed potentially into Mexican territory. It is about 50 miles south of Tucson, Arizona, where Nancy Guthrie lives. Also, the FBI now searching a home in Rio Rico in that area, obviously searching the vehicle that they pulled over to as well. And also, there are reports that some helicopter was seen leaving the area there in Rio Rico. It's not clear who was in the helicopter, but that it was heading with sort of life-saving measures en route to a local hospital. Unclear again if it's tied to the case or not, but certainly worth noting. 1-800-848-9222, 1-800-848-9222. It wasn't that long ago that they put out that footage there from the doorbell cam. That is really what busted this case wide open. The family said they did not recognize that individual in that tape. And that's significant because the person had pretty distinguishable eyebrows and clothing and a whole bunch else. And here is criminal defense attorney Josh Ritter, this is cut 19, saying this not too long ago, how they were going to piece it all together.
Investigators' primary concern is the integrity of the investigation. So they will do whatever they feel serves that purpose best. If that includes sharing information with the public, sure. And we're seeing that here. They're essentially starting to crowdsource this case. If that includes sharing information with the family members, they'll do that as well. But like I said, they're always going to serve the integrity of the investigation, and that does sometimes and oftentimes does mean that they're not going to entirely share information with us. I think what we're seeing here, though, is definitely, and you've all pointed this out, is definitely a pivot in the way that they are approaching the investigation, and Savannah's own words, I think, indicate that as well, that there is all indications that they not only are not addressing the ransomers, not even talking about the ransom, may not even be considering it illegitimate anymore. So we might be back to square one, and that they're just working the pavement, trying to follow leads and do, detective work with the evidence that they have on scene.
And remember, this has been an incredible journey. It's not over yet, but certainly it looks like we may be near an enormous break in this case. Now that video's come out, now that they have detained an individual, and now that they are doing a search of a home in Rio Rico, Arizona, again, right by the U.S. southern border with Mexico. And it wasn't that long ago that Savannah Guthrie, remember, and her siblings put out this pleading video and also telling the alleged kidnappers they will pay.
We received your message and we understand. We beg you now to return our mother to us so that we can celebrate with her. This is the only way we will have peace. This is very valuable to us, and we will pay.
Let's go to your calls, everybody. 1-800-848-9222, 1-800-848-9222 on this enormous news night here in America. Let's go to Eduardo in Florida. Eduardo, your thoughts tonight.
Yeah, good evening, Rita. Well, I just have the Spanish news on right now, so they're saying the same thing that you're saying. So I'm just looking for anything out of the ordinary. So it's a possibility that this person might have been heading to Mexico, and I think we're going to know by the end of this week, very soon. Hopefully, Nancy's going to be okay. I mean, I take care of my mother here in Tampa. I mean, she's 86 years old, so.
Yeah, this case is a gut punch. Eduardo, you mentioned you've been listening to the Spanish news. What are they saying about this case? It's always interesting to hear different perspectives because this case has truly gripped the country.
Yeah, they're showing the house where they're at in that town that you mentioned over there. So they're saying the same thing, them flying a person on a helicopter.
But by the way, I just got an update that individual was a male. I'm just being told that it may have been a male. It may have been still somebody related to this case, but that doesn't sound obviously like it's Nancy Guthrie.
No, and that's interesting in Arizona because, and I've been to Phoenix. I always thought of Arizona. I heard that Phoenix is kind of like a kidnapping for
a bit of a hotbed. Yeah, no, it is. It's a bit of a hotbed.
Yeah, I noticed that. Yeah. And so this is going to be very interesting what comes up in the next few days because I'm pretty sure that this person wouldn't surprise me if they're an illegal. So
it may be. We don't know that, but, it may be. I mean, clearly, this was happening very close to the southern border. I would imagine whoever, by the way, Eduardo, I would imagine whoever did it, it's not their first rodeo, because you don't just go and say, I'm going to kidnap somebody at the house. And the way that individual, at least on the footage that we saw with the surveillance video, that individual clearly is pretty savvy, seemed very comfortable, seemed like no big deal. So they've obviously committed a number of crimes before. Whether they're illegal or not, we don't know. But they've obviously seemed pretty comfortable about to break into a house and kidnap someone, right?
Yeah. Well, let's keep our prayers, and hopefully Nancy's going to be okay.
Yeah, let's pray. Eduardo, absolutely. That is the most important thing. And boy, would that be incredible if she comes back safe and sound, and if they bust this case wide open. I believe we're going to know some things very, very soon. Again, they are searching a home in that little border town of Rio Rico, Arizona. Literally just a few minutes from the U.S. southern border. So that is very significant that they probably wanted to do that stop before an individual crossed into Mexico. 1-800-848-9222. 1-800-848-9222. Let's go to Rob in Long Island, line 4. Go ahead, Rob. Your thoughts tonight on this big news night.
Yeah, good evening, Rita. Like always, you have a great show. A couple of observations. Number one, I don't ever hear anything about how that thug gained entrance into the house. Was there an open window? Was there an open door? Did he have a key? No mention of that.
By the way, we don't know, because at one point there was a report of forced entry, and then they backtracked on that and said, we don't know where you got that from. So given that is the case, indeed, it could, to me, it sounds like maybe it was not. Maybe the door was open in the back. Who knows?
Right. The other thing is, why wasn't the FBI brought in on day one? It's a federal crime, kidnapping. They should have been on the scene day one. So that's a big question mark, why they didn't get involved right away, because this would have happened obviously days earlier.
And listen, believe me, there's going to be a lot of after action. I'll tell you, I've had so many questions, particularly about that guy, the sheriff who in Pima County, who was at a basketball game over the weekend, which to me is just stunning. And I think he probably didn't want to have the FBI come in suddenly and then realize he clearly was over his head. So there are a lot of questions tonight, and I'm sure there will be a lot of post evaluation. In the meantime, obviously, the key is to get Nancy Guthrie, hopefully, back home safe and sound, because, boy, let's pray tonight that they are extremely close. Rob, thank you very much. I want to go now to Lieutenant Randy Sutton. He is the head of a great organization called the Wounded Blue. Randy is there on the ground in Tucson. And Randy, I know you know about all these big developments tonight with this individual detained. We're being told that there's a search going on right now of a home in Rio Rico, Arizona, right there on the border of Mexico. What are you hearing there from, I assume are you still in Tucson or nearby?
I am indeed. In fact, I'm in the parking lot of the county sheriff's department, and been reporting on this on news stations all day.
Well, I've been watching your work. You've been doing some great work, Randy. So thank you very much for calling. And I know you only have a few minutes here, but fill me in on what you're hearing about. What have you heard about this traffic stop, and how significant is it that they're now doing this search, and the fact it's right by the border?
Well, this really became a whirlwind. After watching, this has been going on for 10 days, and it looked like the investigation had, developed their inertia, and there wasn't much happening. And suddenly, today, this just completely broke open when the FBI released incredible video of a suspect at the victim's house, dressed like a monster. I mean, I looked at this video and I thought to myself, can you imagine an 84-year-old woman facing a guy that looked like he stepped out of a horror movie? I mean, it was horrifying.
It was chilling.
And he was armed. He had a pistol. He had a mask over his face. He was just a bizarre looking creature. And when this happened, although he was masked, although you couldn't see him, you couldn't identify his face, he was identifiable enough through the build of his body, the shape of his face, what you could see of his eyes and his lips, and his, you could see that he had a mustache. You could see his eyebrows, and so I think the FBI did an incredible job technologically, because they were able to recover footage from a security doorbell that the county sheriff had already pronounced impossible. And once they must have made a calculation, because clearly they had developed information that where they were hoping they would identify the suspect. But when they couldn't, they released it to the public. And I think that probably a deluge of tips came in as a result of that. And I was actually in the parking lot of the sheriff's department when the SWAT team rolled out. They rolled out with 2 emergency units, a bomb squad, and a mobile command post. So we knew something was up, but we didn't, know the full extent of it. Then we found that there was a vehicle stop made and an individual detained, and that's where we are right now. But
hey, Randy, do you have any idea, like anything about this individual? Do you know? Do we know if it's the same person in the video, or we don't? Right?
I don't know. I don't know the answer to that question. I'm sure that they are questioning him right now. They have been very careful as to call him a subject who is detained. But the fact that they got him, mobile, would indicate to me that they were really concerned he was going to flee to Mexico, and I think that's why they made the vehicle stop.
What did you glean also from that video? I agree, by the way, Randy, I agree, because he was so close to the southern border. Very quickly, what did you glean from that video? Like when I saw, you talked about obviously frightening to look at this individual, weird eyebrows, also seemed very comfortable, kind of hanging outside the house. Didn't seem very scared about what he was about to do. Very casual.
Yeah, absolutely, and it was bizarre to watch. He wasn't in a hurry. He was a little bumbly and stumbly, it seemed.
Yep.
He realized that there was a Ring doorbell or whatever that security camera is, and then he didn't come prepared to deal with that. So he grabbed some vegetation and put it in front of it. It was very bizarre to see, because clearly this individual knew what he was going to do, and it was very strange to watch. Now there's still lots that we don't know about this. We don't know what the entry point was. The police aren't saying at this point. We don't know what he did in that house for the 42 minutes that he was there, but you can bet that it wasn't anything pleasant. And I'm just praying that by some miracle they do bring back Mrs. Guthrie.
Yeah, let's absolutely pray for that. Randy Sutton, Lieutenant Randy Sutton, head of the great organization, the Wounded Blue. Thank you. I know you're there on the ground. It's been a really busy night. Thank you for calling us last minute in the thick of it all, Randy, and your perspective is invaluable. Thank you, Randy, so much.
Thanks, Rita. Talk to you soon.
Thank you. I look forward to it, my friend. Thank you very much. Everybody, we're going to continue after the break with your calls, 1-800-848-9222. But first, support our heroes.
The Rita Cosby Show presents Support Our Heroes.
And everybody, this is the Tunnel to Towers Foundation Support Our Heroes segment with a very powerful story from Camden, New Jersey. We're aboard the battleship New Jersey, surrounded by friends and family and the ship's important legacy. Johnny Q. Quinesso Sr. marked a milestone, his 100th birthday. The World War II Navy veteran was a longtime volunteer, and he honored last week. He was there for a special luncheon recognizing his great service to our country and also celebrating the nation's most decorated battleship. Just to give you a little background on this great veteran, he joined the Navy straight out of high school in 1943. At 19 years old, he trained as a radio operator, and he served aboard the LSM 302, which is a medium landing ship that delivered troops, tanks, and supplies to the beaches across the Pacific. His service took him to Wake Island, Guam, Okinawa, and Saipan during some of the war's most intense fighting. Wow, very powerful. And what a beautiful piece of history living among us and surviving some very difficult times in World War II. Everybody, America's heroes need your help. All it takes to make a tremendous difference is $11 a month to the incredible Tunnel to Towers Foundation. They are the best, and they help our heroes and their families. Be sure to check them out at t2t.org. That's T2T.org. And we're going to have a lot more on this big breaking news tonight in the Nancy Guthrie case right after the break.
The Rita Cosby Show on the Red Apple Podcast Network. It's the Rita Cosby Show.
And we are just hearing some details that it may have been a woman who was driving the car. She got pulled over. Then authorities went to a house in Rio Rico, Arizona, pulled a guy out of the house, and now they are searching that home. And what's significant is the owner of the home, this woman, the mother-in-law of the guy who was pulled out, who apparently has been detained and is being questioned, said she didn't recognize him from the video or didn't recognize clothes attached to it and didn't understand why authorities were questioning her son-in-law. On the other hand, she very well may not know. And who knows? They are now going through that home with a fine-tooth comb. And we're told the home is located again in Rio Rico, Arizona, which is just a few miles from the border with Mexico. What a big, big news night and so many huge developments. And apparently they're suspecting a number of individuals potentially tied to this case. And the son, who apparently was playing Nintendo, according to his mother-in-law, was yanked out of the house by the feds and then was arrested and is now being questioned right now. So there's a lot of developments happening fast and furious. And again, not far from the U.S. border with Mexico. Everybody, let's pray that this is the biggest break in the case. We have seen so much happening in the last few hours. Of course, that video came out, that video from the doorbell cameras indicating an individual looking very ominous and ready to clearly go into that house for nefarious purposes and going in. It's unclear if the person who's being questioned looks like that individual, but the fact that this mother-in-law says they were showing the footage and asking if this was her son-in-law, maybe they think he is the guy, and it could bust this case wide open. Stay tuned, and we'll, of course, have a lot more tomorrow, guys.
Thanks for listening to The Rita Cosby Show. You can hear The Rita Cosby Show weeknights at 10 on 77 WABC. If you like the podcast, share it with your friends and listen anytime at WABCRadio.com and download the WABC Radio app. Hit that subscribe button on all major podcast platforms. Plus, follow WABC on social on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, and X. See you next time for a new episode so you never have to wonder.
What the heck is going on here?
Looking for financial insights you can trust?
How do you protect yourself as an investor? What's the strategy?
I think it's really simple. I think you just want to be diversified in your portfolio.
The Payne family brings real-world experience to every conversation.
Well, I think that's the problem right now is, right, a lot of people that are close to retirement, they're taking so much risks. And if we do get a big sell-off, it could derail their retirement.
Listen to the Pain Points of Wealth on the Red Apple Podcast Network.